Hey everyone, welcome to the Healthy Brain Podcast. Today is one of my favorite topics. It's about yoga and how yoga can improve your longevity. I want to share 5 ways that research now has shown yoga can improve your health longevity. So we all want to live longer, right? But we want to live really healthy in the process. We don't want to just live longer. We want to be healthy. You may not know, but yoga can help support your longevity. And in this episode, I'll discuss the 5 ways that you may be surprised, or maybe this is just a good reminder. So I want to start off with what I am referring to when I say yoga. So many people will just think it is the poses, or we call them asanas, like Warrior One, Warrior Two, um, the sun salutations, a triangle pose, side angle, all of those. Like we all have names, or there are names for these yoga asanas. But yoga includes many other things, and some of them, of course, are the asanas, but pranayama or breath work. Yoga also involves meditation, also myofascial release or foam rolling. A lot of people know it as foam rolling with a roll or a tennis ball or a soft ball. Some people use lacrosse, although that's a little too hard. Then there's specific yoga classes as well, not just the vinyasa or the power Ashtanga yoga. There's the hatha yoga, there's the yin, the restorative yoga. So when you think of yoga, don't think just poses. It's so much more than that. And what we want to do is approach this idea of yoga and how it can fit into your lifestyle through the lens of the areas that I just mentioned, like through the asanas, pranayama, meditation. Now, maybe you do practice yoga once a week, or maybe it's more frequent, or maybe you really have wanted to try it, but you haven't started to try it. So I hope that after this episode, you'll consider and you'll make it part of your lifestyle, part of your movement, and also part of your stress management routine. So let's dive into the 5 ways that yoga can support your longevity. The first is through mindfulness. And mindfulness can come in the form of the meditation or moving through asanas. When you go through a yoga class or you're practicing yoga at home, even if it's not an official class, there is this component of mindfulness. And this is crucial. It's so important for all of us to be more mindful. We're in such a busy, busy culture right now. Our attention spans have gone down. Our memory is worse for a lot of people. People say they feel a lot of brain fog, they feel overwhelmed. And this idea of becoming mindful and becoming aware of their own body, it's introspective, feeling how your body is feeling in that particular day, how the joints, how the muscles are, and just having a set time to check in, either through this movement meditation, which is the yoga, or with the official meditation of if you are sitting and meditating. I had the pleasure of teaching yoga to young athletes, and it's in the high school setting and in the college setting. And what I really enjoy working with that type of athlete, because they put so much emphasis on their strength building and their cardiovascular and their quick movements, that having this time to just quiet their minds, quiet their bodies, and become introspective. I included different stretches, yoga poses, stretches, myofascial release. It was just so incredible to see that they really enjoyed, once they got over the idea of, oh yeah, it's yoga, they really enjoyed it. I believe most of them did. Of course, we'll see if they make it a general practice, but I included the movement, like I said, with the yoga, but also this mindfulness, this moment, and especially with athletes, so important to have the mindfulness and be aware and be alert, have the brain to be alert and attentive as much as possible. So how this helps our longevity is when we can check in with our body and our brain in this mindfulness, we can start to become aware of, oh, this, I'm feeling this way. And if I keep going down this road, I may get sick, or I may not, I don't feel well. So I need to check in on this kind of pathway. That's what I mean by mindfulness for longevity. Now, the second area in how yoga can help your longevity is through the nervous system regulation. So I've separated the two. The mindfulness is that introspective, really awareness of what's going on internally. And the nervous system, though, is more on the nervous system and the brain regulation to how do we deal with stress. I've shared this before in a previous episode of, and I was reminded of it because I started to feel a little bit of it over the last week, where I had a moment where I thought they were heart palpitations. This was many years ago. And I was in a very stressful time of my life, and I was feeling like these flutters. So of course I go to the doctor, I get the cardio, the hookup, I wear it, a heart monitor for over 24 hours for them. And I mark down when I started feeling that little flutter, so they could compare it to, did they see any kind of anomaly in my heart rate? Everything came back negative. They said, you're fine. The heart is fine. So that was good, but the doctor had said it could be your stress. So here's a antidepressant because I had explained how overwhelmed I was. I didn't fill that. Actually, I did fill the prescription, but I didn't take it. I just said, no, I'm not depressed. I'm just overwhelmed and stressed. So I doubled down at that time on my yoga practice. I had really done just maybe one practice a week. I really wasn't fully into, I have been practicing since my 20s for yoga. But within that time period of me feeling this overwhelm and stress, I decided to double down. So I went to probably 5 classes a week, and they were the Ashtanga, the power vinyasa, with the Ujjayi breath, the regulation of the breath, and the movement in the poses. Within 2 weeks, this sensation that I had, this fluttering, had minimized significantly, where it was happening only once or twice. Because it was once or twice a week, because it was happening regularly during the day, whether or not I felt stressed out, or even when I was happy, I felt it. And then it was completely gone within a month. So this is the power of our ability to regulate our nervous system, is exactly that, what happened there. Now, recently, I noticed that I wasn't quite getting this flutter as much, but it was almost more of like catching my breath, kind of like, oh, it felt the same, and I knew in my mind, okay, I need to get back into a regular practice. I do teach yoga infrequently. I practice probably twice a week. So now in my what I'm planning is to do it at least 5 days a week. More of a gentle, I won't do the Ashtanga, but I will focus in on that breath awareness now and the breath work exercises. So the nervous system regulation, how it affects our longevity is it gives our body this ability through yoga, through breath work, through the regular rhythmic breathing and awareness. It regulates our nervous system, which has a direct relation to our stress response. Like our stress response will make our sympathetic nervous system go in override, and that's where chronic stress happens, where this sympathetic nervous tone is always on. Whereas we want to be flexible. We want to have this sympathetic nervous system decreasing as our parasympathetic nervous system can activate, and that helps us to rest and digest. It lowers our heart rate, our blood pressure. So that ability to be flexible and is very important for our nervous system regulation, and yoga can help. It helps with through the yoga asanas, the poses, through the pranayama, the breath work, through the meditation, even with the myofascial release. Yes, it actually activates the parasympathetic nervous system when we roll around with this roller or the tennis ball with some nice deep breaths. Okay, so there you go. There's the two ways. Now let's get to the third. Now, many people think of yoga as this. The benefit of yoga for longevity is stretching and mobility. People are like, yes, of course, it will help you to be more flexible as you get older. But I like to take it through the lens of mobility. Mobility is so important. The connective tissue, in the fascia, the ligaments, the tendons, they need hydration, and taking different movements in the yoga poses, also the myofascial release, can help in this hydration. When we are if you're taking a yin class, usually the yin hold is 2 to 3 minutes. Sometimes it's longer, where you hold a stretch. Very supportive, but it is a stretch. And that actually has been shown with research to improve the hydration of the tissues. And when we have more mobility in our muscles, but connective tissue, there's actually research to show that arterial stiffness, so how stiff our arteries are, improves. So it decreases the stiffness when we work on stretching and these aspects of yoga. So it's not just I can touch my toes. It has an internal, it seems to have an internal effect in our cardiovascular health. It also helps in our ability to reach for things. Our shoulders, our hip mobility, getting up from the floor and standing up if you've fallen, having the strength, but having that mobility to turn. So important in our longevity for this. I could just keep going on about all the benefits of yoga in that mobility and stretching. The fourth way that yoga can really help in the longevity is in the strengthening and stability. Strengthening and stability of one, not falling, being stable. Oh, and let me tell you a story about what just happened today. We got a bit of snow, not a lot, over in the day. So I go out and I'm doing a little bit of shoveling to get to the car. And I didn't realize it, but there was a patch of ice because we have a divot in our driveway. I fell, and I fell on my hip and I fell on my hand. So I could feel it in my wrist. Nothing was broken. I feel fine. My butt was a little sore for a moment, but I did that assessment. Okay, am I okay? And I'm fine. So stability, I didn't have the right shoes on. That was one reason why I went flying and I slipped. But how many stories have we heard of people as they get older, they fall and they break something? I believe that my strength building with my strength training and my yoga of having this flexibility, I feel fine. Like I feel actually, I was really proud of myself. I thought, oh gosh, I am so glad. This is one reason why I make sure that I work out every day, is for this exact reason. Now, I wish I didn't fall, of course. Neighbors probably thought it was, I don't think anybody was out there, but it must have been something. I didn't hit my head. I just fell on the side. And anyways, the idea of this stability and strengthening of having muscles on your body. And yes, you can develop muscles with yoga because we're using our body weight, especially when you have an isometric hold, when you're holding a warrior two for 2 to 3 minutes in different postures and different movements, and maybe going to crescent warrior to side angle pose, loading those legs in the isometric hold, that has a significant effect on our longevity. There's research now that the thickness of and strength of the legs has a direct correlation to your metabolic health. Through managing this stability and strengthening, it's so important for your hips, for your knees, back, shoulders. Limited stability can lead to, unfortunately, falls that are devastating, that can lead to a hospitalization. So yoga provides this ability for strengthening and stability. Now, the fifth way that yoga can help in your longevity is it regulates the biochemistry of the body. This is really interesting to me. There's different research out there. Of course, we know that yoga helps with stress. Well, how does it? It seems that it manages, or when people practice yoga, that there is a management of cortisol release. And cortisol is it's a hormone that we definitely want to have in our body release, but we don't want it chronically high. And people who are in a stress cycle have this high, chronic, consistent cortisol release. Also some research in yoga practitioners is shown to regulate blood pressure and cholesterol and overall cardiovascular health and insulin sensitivity. And insulin sensitivity does have an effect on the cortisol as well. And the other area for the biochemistry is that practitioners show reduced inflammation in the body and improved immunity in the different regulators that they're seeing after people practice consistently in practicing yoga. So all of those, like those 5 areas are just, I mean, we could dive in even further into it, but yoga is more than stretching. It's more than meditating. It's so much more. And it's amazing, right? So how do you start practicing and putting more yoga into your life? Well, the key word here is practice, and we call it yoga practice because this takes the pressure off of performance and achievement. Also, practice means that yoga is ongoing. There's no end point. You don't just finish practicing or yoga for a month and then you're done. To really see these longevity benefits, we want to see if we can apply them and do a little bit of yoga every day or as much as we can do. So you can see from the different subsets of yoga, like the different classes, the meditation, the pranayama, the MFR, you can actually cycle through and really have different aspects of yoga to practice throughout the day. But like any new behavior or habit that you want to be consistent with, it takes time and it takes commitment and consistency. It could look like meditation in the morning, a few yoga poses after a workout, afternoon breath work, 5 minutes really. And it could look like evening yoga stretches. Just like drinking water and eating healthy, yoga can be an important part of your lifestyle, especially for health longevity. And that's why I've made yoga classes, meditation classes, breath work, and MFR part of my Legacy Life Coaching program. In addition to the stress management, the time management, the habits, routines, the other brain health, lifestyle modules, over 75 modules in there. In this program, I also offer yoga classes and the meditation breathwork MFR because it is so important to help with our longevity. So right now, you can join the Legacy Life community. It's free. And we're going through the 12 days of healthy holidays where you'll get weekly yoga, meditation, and other ways to keep us healthy, like healthy recipes. I'm going to throw some of those in. I'm going to throw in some journaling, some reading, all to make a healthy holiday. So I hope you can join me over in the free Legacy Life community. You'll find the link to join in the show notes. So I hope you found this helpful and that you'll apply some of the tips into practicing yoga more often in your life and have a really strong longevity practice. See you next time.